You know, I grew up in the 60s, unlike my husband, because I'm older than him. But I think the 60s were a really special time. They were hard. And I was like 10 years old when President Kennedy got assassinated, and I remember that. I remember the nun coming in and telling us what happened and how scary it was. But I remember my little brother. He was younger than me, a couple of years younger than me. And when the Vietnam War broke out and all of that, he was like, he was so scared, he didn't want to go to war. So he would go around and ask every single person what occupation he could be so he wouldn't have to go to war. He'd ask the garbage man, and he never could find anyone that could tell him that besides a priest, told him if he became a priest, he wouldn't have to go to war, but that's not true either. So anyway, it was a time, and that song, I kept listening to it when I was preparing for this talk, because like, what does it really mean? And if you go on the internet and look it up, you'll just see all these different reasons. Or could be this, could have been about the assassination of Kennedy, could have been this, could have been that. He could, Simon Garfunkel could have gone into the bathroom and just sat in the silence and the song came to them. But what it was really about, and I think it was Paul Simon that said it, was about people's inability to communicate. And that is what Patrick was talking about, the essence of why we still have war, because people can't communicate. People are reaching out to be heard, and nobody's listening. And I think we can, like for myself, I can feel that sometimes in my own life, like I don't necessarily listen like I should listen, or I don't hear, because we hear from whatever we believe. We hear from our own perspective of whatever is. So somebody could be spewing love over us, but if we're not feeling loving, then we could take that as an attack or something. It's about us. And I'm so glad you said that, Patrick, and thank you, Glenn, because it's about us. And it's the reason why we're still having the problems we're having now. We keep looking out, expecting somebody to solve it, the next president or whatever, but it's never going to be solved if we don't solve it here. And I do believe, like I said last week, that we will have peace in my lifetime. I know it, because I know there's a resurgence of love that's coming into this planet right now, and it's pushing through everyone, saying, come on, this is the time for the shift, this is the time to take care of our planet, this is the time to take care of us, take care of our lives. And I wrote this book that, like I told you, that will be coming out, and one of the reasons I'm so happy about this book is because I'm telling it all. I'm telling the journey I had to go through to get here, and I'm still journeying. And I think it's important that we share the truth of who we are, not wallowing in our stories, but actually showing how we grew through something, actually showing that it's possible for all of us to grow into this peace, this life, this wholeness. And that's why I'm excited about my book, and why I wasn't afraid to say the things I say in it, which, you might all decide, maybe this isn't the center for you. No, that's not going to happen after you find out about Rita, Saint Rita. But I don't tell the stories for any other reason besides how I worked through them, and how much of our life is run unconsciously. The first part of my book is like, how did life get the way it is, which is one of our things in practitioner studies that we do, because so many things have happened to all of us that we have taken in that have caused us to go forward from that place, not even knowing that we're replaying that tape over and over in the silence. We're replaying that tape. Like when Patrick was saying, what were you thinking when he said that? That's like so important. But it's also not about just changing your thoughts. It's about listening from a higher level, remembering who we are. Because when we recognize that we're God made visible, that's who we are, God made visible. Everything, the plants, the rooster, you, me, the whole world is God made visible at the level that they recognize that they're God made visible. So just because somebody's having a hard time or somebody that we consider evil or whatever, that's still God made visible with whatever that consciousness is. Now, if we really knew that, like if we really could understand that, we would be less apt to judge others. We would be less apt to listen with the ears of judgment. We would be listening with the ears of compassion, as the Dalai Lama talks about. You know what he said? I'm reading his book, The Book of Joy. At night, he says, when he can't fall asleep, he lays there and he thinks about all the people in the world, 6 billion or however many they are, that can't fall asleep maybe. And it makes him feel a oneness with the rest of the world, with the rest of the people, because we're all brothers and sisters, no matter what we're experiencing. So I loved that, and last night I tried it, and it was really true. If you really realize how connected we are, and when we can't fall asleep, there's people that can't fall asleep, and we're connecting with them, and we're just, oh my God, and feeling compassion for them, and feeling love, and trying to understand why somebody does the things they do that seem like yucky to us. So, yeah, it's all about that. So, there's a woman, her name is Emma Curtis Hopkins, and yesterday we had this amazing little retreat, mini retreat with our spiritual team, and I read this quote, and I'm going to read it, and I might have read it before up here, I don't care, you're going to hear it again. Just remember this. Emma Curtis Hopkins was a healer from the 20th century, and everybody that walked in her presence basically was healed if they want to be. And that was because she was a presence of love, and she was no nonsense. She would just sit there and she knew who she was, and she knew who you were. And she wrote this, it's in her Radiant I Am. And see where you're at on this. The listening disciple becomes a preaching apostle. Standing at the center of being and looking outward over the world, instruction is received from every quarter. But who hath told himself that all the objects he beholds and all their movements also are but projections of his own judgment? This is like, so you're looking out and you're creating the world from your own judgments. We all are. There's nothing that's separate from us, is what she's saying. He seems always to be a learner and a seeker, till at the center of his consciousness, the fact is suddenly proclaimed that he himself produced the world as it appears. We produce the world as it appears. Nobody else, all of us, collectively. Then he no longer listens to information from without. He authorizes from himself what he would see and hear and touch, and even what he would know. So we get to decide. We don't have to listen to the neon lights flashing like that are in the song, which is all the media and all this stuff that's coming at us. We get to decide. We get to decide what we want to hear. So she says, I have been a listening disciple, I've listened, and I have let people and objects and activities come toward me and impinge upon me till I have been overpiled and with mountains and covered with thought. Like, do you know that feeling? Like you're just thinking of everything and all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, what's really my thought? What am I picking up that's me? What is it? Because I'm so listening to everything on the outside. Then she says, but now I know that I am at my own center, authority over and through my universe. And I shall ordain my 12 disciples or my 12 powers to spread the original nature abroad till from me to the utmost stretches all is my divine ego. So all she's saying is that we get, because we have the power to do that, to think from that highest place, to listen from that highest place, and to project that out. And I believe that that's what we're doing now. I believe, like I said, there's a surgence that we're saying enough is enough is enough. Love is the answer. War is not necessary, and we're going to stop our wars so that we can project that out into the world. And I just know, I know before I die, I'm 71 years old right now, and I know that before I'm claiming it, that before I die, I will see peace on earth. I know it. And I'll live in it for a while. Because it is possible. It's possible. And it is. So we are all healers. That's what I wanted to say. In the silence, we are all healers. We don't even have to say anything. We just have to walk as it, and people feel it. I know my granddaughter will come to me, one of my granddaughters, and say, "Granny, I just feel better when you're here. I feel better when I'm with you." And that, I don't tell her anything. She just feels the love. People feel, and you don't have to say a word. If somebody's complaining to you or whatever, if you just sit and have that compassion and that love in the silence, you're a healer. All of us are healers if we can stay in that consciousness and then not beat us up when we don't. Don't beat yourself up when you don't. Just get back up and say, "Wow, that was interesting. I really screwed that one up. Okay, but it's okay. Just as long as the next time you remember that, you're aware of it, and then you bring yourself back up." So this is what Ernest Holmes said, and I'll use it in closing. It was actually the meditation this morning in The Science of Mind. And he said, "The power within me is blessing all humanity." Actually, take a deep breath and close your eyes. "The power within me is blessing all humanity and is forever healing all with whom I come in contact. The power within me is God, and it must bless and help and heal all who come near it. It's God. Silently, the work goes on, and silently, all are being helped by the inner power which is operating through me. I will give thanks that any power within is silently blessing and helping everyone to whom my thought reaches. The life within me blesses all humanity." Take another deep breath. And just remember, the power within me, within each of us, is God. And it can't help but bless, because God is love. Namaste.